What's up everyone, Kyle here from RDM2120, and today the new ban list for September to December just got announced. So I redid my Evilswarm deck because I want to start testing it. So I'm just going to start with the alpha build. Quite a bit has changed due to how I feel the next format's going to be. It's going to be very stun-like. Despite them hitting a lot of backrow, I just feel that with the lack of heavy storm, people are just going to run a lot of backrow anyway. Anyway, I'm going to start off with it. So, 3 Thunderbird. This hasn't changed. In a stun format, this guy reigns king. Like, his ability to dodge backrow is ridiculous. It's really hard to negate his summon now without Solemn Warning, because he can just dodge everything. Your opponent will need to waste multiple resources on his summon if they don't have the warning to get him off the field. He's a really good card, and I'm just gonna love this guy, this format. Up next, 3 Caster. He's still in the deck. If you go Caster set 5, he's still pretty damn scary because there's no heavy storm, there's no trunade. So Caster at 3 is good because, like, first turn Ophion was set 4, yes please. What can they do, especially if you've opened the nuts? Three Mandragora. I was kind of debating whether or not I'd still run this card, but I still kind of want to because he will occasionally draw out your opponent's outs because they're not going to want you to exceed. But the reason I decided to keep it in is because it is going to help out with those exceed plays for, like, first turn, because its name is an Evilswarm, and it will help out late game after you've grinded out the game. 2 Krikion. I only run 2. I've always only ran 2. I've always liked 2. I've never really liked 3. So he still stayed the same. Up next, we have 3 Salamandra. Now, I cut the Heliotropes and the Rabbit engine because Rabbit got limited, so I don't feel that it was consistent at all. I've actually tested it before with only 1 Rabbit, back when I was deciding whether or not I wanted to run the second because of how it was sometimes being dead. And 1 Rabbit sucks. And Heliotrope, in my opinion, just isn't as good as this guy. This guy is 1850, which is big when you've got a lot of backrow set alone. And during your turn, if you can protect him from attacks, you can boost him up. So if your opponent has a really big monster like Thunder King or something, or their own Heliotrope or whatever, you can summon him and bump him up to a cap of 2450, which is huge. That runs over Alagia. It runs over Thanatos. It runs over a lot of shit that Heliotrope just couldn't run over. This guy runs over small boss monsters with his effect, and it's generally totally worth it to use his effect to get rid of those monsters. I've always liked him more than Heliotrope, so I'm going to test him out at 3 because I don't feel that Heliotrope's going to be worth it anymore with only 1 Rescue Rabbit. 1 Thunder King. A lot of the side decked cards that I sided, I kind of main them now because Thunder King at 1, like, I mean, siding in 1 is kind of weird. Like, I mean, if you're not, I don't know, I've just never really liked siding in 1-ofs. Unless it's like a card where it's like, okay, great, I may need it. Like, if it's a stun format, Thunder King's amazing. And I think they limited him to 1 because they didn't want it to be too stunish, but I think that they kind of failed with it anyway because this is going to be a stun format with heavy gone. And no trunade or anything to help you out. And 2 Veiler because I do think it's a stun format. Because this deck focuses on not letting your opponent really keep their stuff around, I don't really want to run Max C. Especially because I don't feel that a lot of people are going to be running a lot of OTK decks, or very fast decks in general. People are going to be trying to, in my opinion, play more stun, slow decks, protect the big monster like Pleiades, Ophion, Lagia, whatever. I don't think, by the way, I do not think Dun Rabbits are going to be played anymore. They lost Gold Sark, they lost a Rabbit. Yeah, that hurt them. Because I know at one point they were running Gold Sark, I'm not sure if they still do. 1 Duality. I had room, and I was like thinking to myself, what would be a good card to put in if this is going to be such a good stun format? And I'm like, oh, duality. Because, like, this deck doesn't always go first turn, and duality, if you use duality and you have a Thunderbird, you can duality into another backrow, or if you have a lot of backrow, you can duality and hopefully hit a Thunderbird, Salamandra, something like that, where it's really big and difficult to get around. Rhoda still, Rhoda's important because he searches out caster and he makes your first turn Ophion plays a lot scarier. Especially in this format, my god. Ophion set 4. I'm gonna have a heyday. Dark Hole, it's still at 1. I'm gonna test it because getting rid of an opponent's getting rid of an opponent's stun monster is gonna be, or baiting it out is gonna be important. I feel like if your opponent has a Thunder King, you're going to want to get rid of that. If your opponent has something, you're going to want to get rid of it. That way it can't hinder your play any more than it will if you don't get rid of it. No Heavy or Reborn because they got banned. Reborn, not that big of a deal. Heavy, I feel, is what's going to let this deck be funny. Book of Moon, stun format. This card's awesome. It was awesome in a Swarm format. In a stun format, like, people are going to be playing 1 to 2 monsters on the board, unless it's like the odd Swarm deck, like maybe Mermails or something. But yeah, Book of Moon, because it's a good card. 2 MST. I just threw in the second one over the Heavy, because why not? I could run 3, but I do run Pandemic and Dress, so it's not that big of a deal for me. Not sure if I want to trade out my Dresses for Lances, though. That'll have to become, like, I'll look into that more as the format shapes up. But yeah, 2 MST now. Then we have 3 Pandemic, which is standard. Yeah, there's the third one. This card is going to be amazing because it'll save you so many times. Like, Lance was good when Dino Rabbit was big, because you could just go Logia, set 5, whatever, and then if your opponent tried to Dark Hole to bait your Logia or whatever, you could Lance it, and then, because they had Dark Hole Heavy, you could do whatever. This is even worse now, because there is no Heavy. So if they try to Dark Hole your monster, you just do this, or whatever. Like, Destruction's not as... Spell Trap Destruction's not as powerful this format because of how Heavy's gone. And there's nothing stopping people from setting 5 unless they release a new version of Heavy. Like, it's ridiculous. And then 2 Dress. Still stops Destruction. Not sure how big it's going to be. I ran it mostly because of Dragon Rulers and Blaster. But I'm not sure how I'm going to like it this format, because a lot of Destruction's gone, like Torrential and stuff like that. I'm not sure if Lance is going to be better, because Lance also does the drop. In my opinion, it's really going to depend on if people run like Deep Prison and stuff now. But yeah, it's also a little bit better now as well, also because of Compulse going to 1. Compulse going to 1, in my opinion, is a smart move. It is going to hurt. It's going to push Xyz Encore a little bit, in my opinion. Especially in this format, because if you think about it, Xyz Encore can't be stopped. So, in my opinion, that's going to be a good card this format. Infestation, Infection. I'm not going to explain that shit. 1 Eradicator, again, same with Tking. I don't see what the point of it being mained is. Not to mention, it's like my Heavy Storm right now. So, yeah, but it can't hit anything. But it does keep that thing away from you. And one thing I actually read about Eradicator, that, hold on, can this thing zoom in? I'm not sure if you guys can read that. But, what it says, hold on, there it is. It says, and all cards they draw. Whereas I believe with Deck Devastation Viruses, it was check the cards your opponent draws during each of their draw phase. Which means that it says all cards your opponents draw, which means even if they use something like 7-star sword thing, you still get to check those cards that they draw. It's not just standby or draw phase, which is really big. Actually, I just found out about that today. Once solemn warning, judgment's gone. Warning's still here though, so why not? 1 compulse. I put this in over the second bottomless I used to run. 1 bottomless, the second one got replaced by the compulse. 1 torrential, because you can only run 1 and it's the best trap in this deck. Outside of infection. 2 mirror force, because backrow, I like backrow, and mirror force is my favorite trap in existence. Looks cool, its effect is broken as hell when it lands. Really good. 2-dimensional prison, more backrow. Again, if it's a stun format, again, there's nothing to stop a lot of spell and trap destruction. So yeah, deep prisons might as well. Dragons got hit, prophecies got hit. They actually have to attack now, and then all you have to be aware of is the wisdom, which they actually have to search now, and they can't just add it. And 2 Fiendish Chain, because it's Fiendish Chain. Okay, now into the extra deck. 3 Ophion, this guy's gonna be a scary ass motherfucker next format. Like, holy crap. Ophion set 4, or actually set 5, because he's just gonna search out a pandemic. Like, I don't fear setting 2 pandemic anymore. Like, it's ridiculous how good he's going to be. If you have 2 pandemic set, Judgment's gone. Keep that in mind, Judgment's gone. They can't Judgment near pandemic anymore. So it's like, okay, you do anything to this guy, I'll just pandemic, and then if you try something else, I'll just pandemic again. Because I run 3. And you got 1 just for his effect. And 2550 is huge. It's like Dino Rabbit, just even harder to get rid of, because the problem with Dino Rabbit was after you baited out the Logia, you could just simply run it over with a bigger monster, unless they had the Lance. But the thing about Ophion is that extra 150 is huge, because not that many generic rank 4 can get over him. You have Ouroboros, who requires 3 materials, Gemnite Pearl, who doesn't have an effect or a way to protect himself, so he's easy to get rid of, and Maystroke, which is hurt by Book of Moon, it's hurt by Effect Veiler. You can immediately on its summon dress your Ophion so they can't target it, and then he drops to 1950, which is still bigger than the Maystroke. He's just going to be a scary ass bitch next format. And he's going to stop people from synchroing and doing all this other crap. One Ouroboros. Next format, I feel that he's going to be good. Like, taking a card, especially in like if it's a set 5 thing, just taking a card out of your opponent's hand in a top decking scenario is huge. And he's not very hard to make. Like, mid to late game, you can make him easily. 1 Bahamut, because Bahamut steals stuff, but like, again, I'm not playing Rabbit anymore, so I don't have like that 1 card exceed, so he's a lot harder to make. He's like Ouroboros, easy to make in mid and late game though. Keymaster Beetle, holy shit, I think this guy's gonna become like MVP of the deck. Your cards can't be destroyed. You just target another card and it can't be destroyed. And then you also have like 5 back row set. This guy's gonna be ridiculously good. Like, yeah, I'm gonna probably make him a lot next format. Now this might seem weird. I'm running 2 Thanatos because I feel that 4-axis Fire Fist is gonna be good. Like, 5 back row for them, no heavy storm or anything to get their crap off the field. yeah, that's going to be difficult to deal with. Though they did lose a Tking, which is huge, because they no longer have 6 bears. They only have 5, and that is a problem for them, because if you MST or Dust Tornado or something, one of their Tnkis, they're put pretty far behind, as Tenki's their main comeback play. Like, they just want to spam bear all day, every day, and occasionally, like, set 10 or something. But he's going to be big, because you can go, like, set 5, summon Thanatos. And Thanatos is immune to bear. So they need something to help them get rid of Thanatos. And if you have, like, a Dress or a Pandemic, or hell, even both, they are in big trouble, because it's like damage calculation. If they go like Lance or something, you just counter with a Dress and you'll win, because you're inherently stronger than them anyway by quite a bit. And then if you have Pandemic for Dark Hole or whatever. But yeah, I'm running 2 because I feel that Fire Fists are going to be pretty damn good. 4 Axis anyway. 3 Axis sucks. With only 1 Spirit, like, I don't know why they limited Spirit. They just brought Rooster back. Like, Rooster's not even going to be played. 1 Nightmare. Oh, back on the topic of Rooster. That Fire Fist Spirit getting limited hurt them way more than that Spirit getting limited. I'm not going to do a balance discussion until Thursday, when I can meet up with Clint, and then me and my brother and Clint will do the discussion video. Nightmare. I don't feel that spamming special summons is going to be as prevalent next format. It may, but yeah, one of him. If special summoning a lot, like say Infernities or something, does really well next format, I'm going to drop the 2nd Thanatos and put in a 2nd Nightmare. Because Nightmare is like the bane of the existence for... He's like Ophion almost. Like, he's almost that bad for certain decks, because like he Book of Moons any special summon, and he's 1950 in defense. People kind of forget about him. Excalibur. Yeah, I don't know, he's just there. I can make him. Crazy Box, because people at my locals play Dark Worlds with Skill Drain, and it's so funny just going Crazy Box. Run over the Grapha, and they're like, wait, what? And you're just like, yep, Fiend, 3300. Fuck you. That's exactly what you say to them when you summon Crazy Box, because he can attack now. I've won so many games off Crazy Boxing them, those fuckers. Abyss Dweller, because he's good against things like Dark Worlds and stuff like that. And Soul Drain got hurt, so Dark Worlds are going to have a little bit of an easier time. And then you just go Abyss Dweller stat 5. And then they cry a bit. Maestroke, the Symphony Djinn. He's good. He's got a built-in protection effect. He's still pooped on by Xyz, Encore, and Compulse. But he saves himself from Torrential, Bottomless, Mirror Force, stuff like that. And he does get the Book of Moon one of your opponent's monsters. Utopia. Shockmaster got hit, so I needed something. But here, I don't know. I may end up liking it in the next format. The problem with it, I guess the current format, is that Dragons and Prophecies could get rid of him before they needed to do anything, or they could just get bigger than him. But I don't know. He might be decent this format. That's just it. This format's kind of unknown. And I don't have a side deck ready because I don't know what's going to be good next format. So I'm not going to bother making one until I find out what's good, what's popular, and what's the current meta. And Gem Knight Pearl. So, yeah, because he kind of shits on Ophion and other Exceeds. Back on the side deck, the reason I don't have one built is I don't know what the most important deck of the format's going to be. I'll just bring out some Ophions here for you to stare at while I talk. The reason I don't have one done is I don't know what's going to be good next format. I have some of the standard stuff that I'm going to be siding anyway, like Max C's and whatever, because there will always be that one rogue deck that's going to spam special summons. The deck devastation viruses, I might run those if it becomes an important issue. where your opponent's spamming with a lot of small monsters, like, say, Plants or Karkuri or something. But I don't think those decks are going to do as well without Heavy Storm, because they really need that to kind of push through your back row. But yeah, that's all about that. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think is going to be prevalent next format. What would you guys change? Tell me if you're still going to be running the Rescue Rabbit engine. And yeah, thanks for watching. Kyle from RDM2120, signing out.